The Missouri State Fair, August 22nd to August 30th, 1959. 9 big days and 9 big nights of the world's greatest entertainment. One of the biggest summertime events in the Midwest, the annual Missouri State Fair attracts hundreds of thousands of people to a giant spectacle that grows larger every year. One reason why people come again and again, aside from the wonderful entertainment and exhibits, are the low admission prices. As the saying goes, you'll have a whale of a time in '59. There are 6 big entrances to the fairgrounds, so there's never any waiting. Once inside, there's plenty of room for parking thousands of cars right on the fairgrounds. And it's just a short walk to wherever you're going to see the many exhibits and the many exciting things. Well, there's a crowd. Crowds everywhere. Wonder what's causing all this excitement? Chainsaws, of interest to everyone who lives on a farm, and many city folks, too. Maybe you wouldn't want that chair in your living room, but it's fun seeing it made out of a log. Just one example of modern machinery at work. And, of course, everyone among the spectators had their own ideas on how the job ought to be done. It's hot in August, and the many free ice water fountains all over the fairgrounds are a big attraction. Speaking of water, here's part of the Missouri Conservation Commission exhibit. All the varieties of fish available to the sportsmen in Missouri. Somehow they look much different swimming freely than they do flapping at the end of a line. Many of the other state departments have their exhibits too, providing a wide variety of educational demonstrations which are new every year. Next door is the colorful Highway Gardens, the relaxing exhibit of the Missouri Highway Patrol. While safety is stressed, most people drop by to enjoy the cooling sound of the fountains and the pleasant shade of the overhanging trees. Here are reproductions of historical scenes from all over the state. Beautiful floral displays which take months of preparation. It's a good place to just sit and watch the world go by, as this young lady is doing. Many families bring picnic lunches and enjoy a relaxing hour in the Pleasant Gardens area, but you won't see much of the fair by just sitting. You can see this exhibit from every point on the fairgrounds. In this space age, everybody's interested in rockets. One like this may be the first to reach another planet. Most people were curious about the motor, the powerful engine that would blast the huge missile into outer space. But they found what your reporter did. The rocket was empty. The engine is still top secret. The Navy gets its attention, too. Battleships aren't used anymore, but the old Missouri was once queen of the fleet. For excitement, let's join the crowd buying tickets for the auto races. There's big prize money at stake here, and top drivers and cars come from all over the country. It makes for real competition, fast action, and a thrill a second. These are probably the fastest competing race cars in the world, and there's no holds barred on horsepower, size, or weight. Most of the cars are more powerful than the Indianapolis racers, and they clock better than 170 miles an hour with ease on the straightaways. They're made especially for dirt track racing, and last year, several new world records were set at the Missouri State Fair. Presented by National Speedways, the racing rules are strict, the safety precautions rigidly enforced, but there's plenty of excitement. It may look easy from where you're sitting, but there's real skill in drifting a fast car through a turn, and the driver who can't make split-second decisions winds up among the losers. There's another ice water fountain right next to the grandstand. It's free, but watch. Well, he made it. This was Governor's Day, and our chief executive, James T. Blair, Jr., and his wife came to the fair like anyone else to have a good time. But first, some official business. This huge 200-ton steam locomotive will be a permanent exhibit at the fair. Here, the governor accepts the title from an official of the Frisco Railroad. Blair then chats for a moment with an old friend, J.S. Williamson, Commissioner of Agriculture, under whose department the fair operates. Then the governor headed for the huge 15-acre exhibit of new farm machinery. This is the largest farm machinery exhibit in the Midwest, showing all the new equipment of the major manufacturers in the country. One thing you'll like about the farm exhibit, each manufacturer insists that you operate his equipment yourself, so you'll get the feel of it. Here, Governor Blair tries out a mechanical post driver. If you've ever done it the old way with a maul, well, you'll appreciate this. And be sure to stay for the wonderful free entertainment shows all day long. Well, we could spend all day there, but the poultry building is nearby, and we want to look at the prize birds on exhibit. This display attracts huge crowds every day, for poultry represents a large part of Missouri's farm output, and the interest is high. There are really two complete shows, poultry the first half of the week and waterfowl the second half, to give you complete variety. Right next door, the Missouri vegetable growers have their exhibit. Here you see examples of every farm and garden crop grown in the state. Prize vegetables and fruit, a vital part of our economy and beautiful to see. And Missouri hams, famous all over the world, worth their weight in gold when there's a blue ribbon attached. Time for a snack before we head for the Midway? Well, let's pause at one of the several milk bars. Here you'll find all of Missouri's dairy products. There's a never-ending line for the delicious milkshakes and cheese sandwiches. Missouri is the second-ranking cheddar cheese producer in the nation, and everybody loves good cheese. But here's the Midway, the entrance to the greatest show on earth. There are 32 rides and 25 games and shows on the mile-long Midway, something for everyone. The Wild Mouse cost over $60,000, and it's the biggest and most popular ride ever to be presented at the Missouri Fair. More than 7,000 people rode the Wild Mouse in one day at the 1958 fair. The huge ride was built in Germany, and it takes 21 men 4 full days just to set it up. Fun? Just watch the happy faces. The ride carries you more than 50 feet high, and it speeds up to 70 miles an hour with complete safety. But, grand as it is, there's a lot more to the Midway than the Wild Mouse. How about some cotton candy? This young fella had no time for anything else. But these youngsters are very busy playing grown-up. They don't know it, of course, but the cars run on a track, and it's all perfectly safe. You'd think it was the big car races, though, the way the anxious parents are watching every move. But here the youngsters are on their own. Give them a steering wheel, and they don't need advice from anyone. Well, Big Brother may be driving and Mother may be anxious, but little sister here has her mind on the toy boats. She'd rather be riding in one of these and ringing the bell. Well, maybe next year. There's plenty on the Midway for adults, too. Here's the sideshow. Freaks from every corner of the world. Wait a minute, that's no freak. It's all part of the 25 giant shows on the Midway. The exciting hurricane ride is one of only 2 in the United States. And there are more than 30 other exciting rides, every kind you could want, and many in use for the first time at the Missouri State Fair. And every year you'll thrill to more new, exciting fun. Fun? Well, you'll think you're flying to the moon, and you'll come back for more and more and more. While the new rides are fun, the youngsters never forget the age-old merry-go-round. This is the world's largest portable merry-go-round with 4 horses abreast. Test your strength, mister? Swing it hard and hit the bell? Well, it looks easy until you try it yourself. Now, as the sky darkens and the lights come on all across the fairgrounds, there's more color than you've ever imagined. It's time to head for the grandstand again. Races in the daytime and the huge, magnificent variety spectacular at night. Beautiful girls, glamorous costumes, precision dancing, novelty acts, a full evening of entertainment for the whole family. Never in the history of show business has there been such a dazzling accumulation of beauty, talented performers, and sparkling color. You've seen many of these acts on television, stars from all over the world. And you'll also thrill to the many outstanding TV personalities in person every year at the Missouri State Fair. The divers, too, are world's champions. This kind of precision takes years of practice. There were over 30 acts at the Spectacular last year, and the variety will be even greater for 1959. This is the production which will set the pattern which others will copy. The dazzling grandeur will establish a show business first. Make sure you attend at least one performance during your visit to the 1959 Missouri State Fair. One of the biggest daytime events of the Missouri Fair is the annual pre-Hambletonian race, featuring the prize horses and drivers of the United States. There's always a big crowd on hand as the elimination grows tighter, for there's big money at stake, more than $100,000 in prizes, plus the chance to race in the Hambletonian. Well, the field of horses is parading to the post before the huge grandstand audience. Then, they'll take their place behind the mobile starting gate, which ensures that each horse in the field gets off to a perfect racing start. These races give the owners a chance to see if their horses are really ready for the big events to come. Well, here's lovely Miss Missouri. Here they come, passing in front of the grandstand in a perfect racing start. Now they're off and racing into the first turn. Is your favorite out in front? Many of these Missouri Fair winners have gone on in past years to win national championships. More lovely spectators. The Missouri Fair Queen and her attendants relaxing between official duties. Now the big field of Hambletonian Hopefields is driving down the home stretch, looking for racing room. Every man determined to get the very best out of his horse, for there can be only one winner. Most of these prize horses will be eliminated, for only the very best can go on to further competition. Here's the start of the Hambletonian preview, the big race of the program. This is the big test, for even the slowest horse in this race was a champion somewhere else. And, of course, Governor Blair is on hand to enjoy the thrills, too. His guests are the President and Secretary of the Kansas State Fair at Hutchinson and the Secretary of the Missouri Fair. Well, they're coming down the home stretch now, and it's the big moment of suspense. Which horse has that extra spurt of power that will carry him across the finish line first? To the winner, Sandalwood, and the driver, Ralph Baldwin, the silver trophy awarded by Governor Blair. If you're a horse lover, you'll want to see one of the 6 big nights of Class A horse shows. Class A horse shows are expensive to stage and require highly paid judges and officials from all over the country. If a horse throws a shoe, only 5 minutes is allowed to replace it, or the horse is eliminated. The top horses at the Missouri Fair always go on to win national honors at top horse shows throughout the United States. For variety, you'll also see some of the country's top pony hitches, and the 14-piece band will thrill you with its music. Be sure to attend the Class A horse show at the 1959 Missouri State Fair. Many people ride the shuttle buses around the huge fairgrounds. It's one way to see the sights and save those tired feet. Hi, fellers. But there's serious business at the fair, too. Constant judging at the sheep and dairy goat pavilion, and there'll be $40,000 in new show pens this year. Coveted blue ribbons awarded to the finest animals in the cattle divisions, too. They're the royalty of the animal world. A blue ribbon is a satisfying reward for a year or more of hard work, but it isn't easy. The sharp eyes of the judges, well, they don't miss a single point. You're looking at future champions. Breeders and buyers from throughout the Midwest come to watch, too, for this is some of the country's finest livestock. In the swine building, over 2,000 entries, and this year a new $140,000 addition to the old pavilion to better show more prize animals. Here's an example of woman's work. Wonder what she's looking at? A blue ribbon cake. If you think cakes are made only to be eaten, just watch these ladies. Some of them will be back next year with their own prize entries in the home economics field. What about you? There's something at the fair for everyone. Exhibits, races, the midway, or just plain sightseeing. Will you be in the picture for 1959? You'll have a whale of a time in '59.